Hi, everybody. We'll give you a couple seconds to get settled and then we'll get started. We're so excited that you're here. All right, it looks like everybody's in and everybody is connected. Um, welcome to our first virtual event, welcoming newly enrolled families. We are so excited to be able to do this. For those of you I haven't met, my name is Letty Miner. I'm the Dean of Upper School Enrollment, and I will be speaking in a bit. But I wanted to first turn things over to Noelle Doherty, who is the head of the upper school. She keeps the lights on for us and wanted to hop on and say hello and share a couple of thoughts before we dive into the nuts and bolts and answering your questions as we get started. So, Noelle, take it away.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. First of all, I just want to thank everybody for just taking a minute to spend with us this evening or this morning, depending on where you are coming from around the world, which is an important part of Cranbrook, which is the fact that we are home to children from around the world. But I thought I would just share a little bit about myself, and then a little bit about what I'm excited for all of you, and then introduce you to hands down the best administrative team and admissions team out of the four independent schools that I have been a part of. And so my name is Noelle Doherty, head of the upper school. I'm concluding my ninth year here as head of upper school. I live right here on campus, which many of the upper school faculty, staff, and administration do. Almost 60% of the upper school faculty staff live on campus, which creates just a completely different definition of what community means. Um, I have two children. One is a graduate. He's in his junior year at Boston College and pursuing biology and forensics. And then I have a daughter, Trinity, who is a junior here at Cranbrook Kingswood, and really enjoying her time here. I frequently like to say to people that, as an educator, when you teach and work in a school and your children go there, what a wonderful opportunity for them to have great educations. And I really, in hindsight, looking at the experience that both of my children have had, I couldn't have chosen a better school to be at this point in their lives, and for them to have had the opportunity to go through Cranbrook Kingswood Upper School. They have really thrived and grown, both as academics, but as human beings, really. And I love the young adults that they've turned into. And I think that we feel passionately about that with all of our children, and certainly yours who will be joining us. Let's see. I absolutely love my job. Every day is different. Education is very exciting. It is not the same environment that we went through when we were in high school. And we take a lot of time and pride and discussions around what it means to work with teenagers today. And boy, if schools aren't doing that, then they are not doing right by the young adults that are in their presence. We have responsibilities that we might not have had an education before in raising young adults, but we also have tremendous opportunities that go with that as well. And you'll hear more about that from everybody here. And so, what am I excited for you as you're sending your children here to Cranbrook Kingswood Upper School? I just cannot encourage you enough to really invest in what it means to communicate and be part of your child's life. They are going to grow and blossom and thrive in front of you in ways that you really just don't even know of yet. And I think that we can say that that's true of all of our kids. And then I think the other piece that's so important is on the other end of all of this, our students are exceptional academics and young adults that go into universities, certainly all over the United States and around the world. And they are not just prepared, they arrive on those campuses and in those spaces ready to thrive, to lead, to take advantage of opportunities that are around them. And we take a lot of pride in providing that, what we refer to as the hidden curriculum. These are all the things that we work on with young adults that aren't part of the math syllabus or how to write an English essay. But this is how to be a young adult, advocate for yourself, seek support and services, lead, thrive, also in some instances learn how to follow, right? I'm excited for that. But I'm going to take a minute now and just introduce the upper school leadership team to all of you. So you've met me. Um, Nick LaFontaine is our Dean of Students. We have Jacob Hazard, who's our Dean of Faculty, and he's serving as the interim Dean of Residential Life. Know that right now we're in the process of concluding our search for a Director of Residential Life. I have two amazing academic deans, Erica Hansinger and Gail Chun. They're a dynamic duo who separate our students by grade level and work very closely with them, what it means to be an academic in today's society, and certainly here at Cranbrook Kingswood. Julie Taylor Voss is my Dean of College Counseling, who runs an amazing college counseling department. This is an area where we're tremendously successful, and we really work to personalize this process to find the right fit for each child as they're pursuing their advanced degree or their undergraduate program. Keith Leventhal is our Director of Athletics. The number of students that voluntarily participate in athletics here at Cranbrook is overwhelming. We think that so much can be taught and learned on the fields, on the courts, in the pool, and in so many of the junior varsity and varsity sports that we offer. And then, of course, you have all met personally that Letty Miner, who is our Dean of Upper School Enrollment. This is the upper school leadership team. They are the most committed group of administrators and teachers and residential leaders that I have had the experience of working with. And we love what we do. And we work really hard in support of our students, your students, and you. And so I just welcome. I'm really excited. I'll have an opportunity to meet all of you in the fall when you come to campus and we start those opening weeks. But this is the group that is going to guide you along with the wonderful people you've already met within our admissions department. So welcome to the Upper School of Cranbrook Kingswood.
Thank you, Noelle. I just realized that we may have not explained why we call ourselves Cranbrook Kingswood to everybody. Cranbrook is a very, very large place with many moving pieces, which I'm going to talk about throughout this brief presentation before I hand it over to the academic deans. But Cranbrook initially started as separate educational institutions on the same grounds. So you had Cranbrook Upper School and Kingswood Upper School, or Kingswood School. And they were one for male identifying students and one for female identifying students. And in the 80s, we merged the schools, at least for the upper school, and we became the Cranbrook Kingswood Upper School. So for those of you that are thinking, I signed an enrollment contract for Cranbrook schools, what is this Kingswood you speak of? It is one half of the upper school experience for our upper school students. So they spend time traveling between two separate portions of campus, whether or not they are a day student or a residential student. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but you'll see that start to pop up throughout the content that you're going to learn about from now until probably homecoming, when you're really fully immersed in our way of life here. I also want to say that there's a couple people who are on the call that aren't going to say hello just yet, but they are here and they are your wonderful enrollment deans. Anna Goldwitzer, Pascal Bauer, and Pam Gardner are all on the call, and they are waving hello from behind their cameras that are currently off right now. We are all here to answer questions at the end of the presentation. So what we're going to do, I am going to run through a few key information slides, and then the main event for today is Dean Hansinger and Dean Chun. They are both on the call as well, and they're going to walk you through a little bit about what's to come from their office, because I know course selection is a big area of interest for everybody. And I will then take back over and we will answer any questions that families have about course selection, academics, and then also just what else to expect. Our other enrollment dean, Marcus Green, who's also our head football coach, is on the line. He is new to our team and he's running the slides for us today. So Marcus, would you mind jumping to our important date slide for me? Thank you so much. There are so many dates to be aware of when you are joining the Cranbrook educational community and the Cranbrook schools, but I wanted to run through some of the very big important dates to have on your radar right now as you're starting to plan for the upcoming school year. We will talk about when information is going to be shared with you in the coming weeks in a couple slides, but these are the dates of happenings on campus that I want you to be aware of. We have a new welcome event on June 1st that is open to all of our new families. I know our families that are joining us from around the world right now may not be able to join us for this event and will wait to join us on campus in August, but I wanted you to be aware of it. So residential families and day families are welcome to attend our event on June 1st here on campus. We play mini golf. You get a chance to meet with the upper school leadership team, and we just start to address more questions that come up as you're navigating joining our community. August 31st, the Sunday before Labor Day, is new resident move-in for those of you who are joining us as residential students. Orientation will begin the very next day on September 1st and go for a couple of days. We have residential move-in orientation on September 1st, and then we will start including our day students on September 2nd. September 3rd is all school orientation. So even the returning students will come back and you'll have a chance to do some orientation work with your fellow classmates who are not new to Cranbrook, who are returning students either from our middle school or if you're joining us in 10th or 11th or 12th grade. We start classes on September 4th, and then it's off to the races. If you look on our website, you will see all the other dates of events that happen between the first day of school and Thanksgiving break. That includes parent visiting experiences, homecoming. We have events for our residential parents when they come to visit campus as well. All of that is listed there. But these other dates that I'm included on here are just ones I want you to be aware of because they are the dates when our residential hall will close. So for those of you that are joining us as residential students, we do not provide housing for Thanksgiving break, winter break, and spring break. All the other times the residence hall is open and residential faculty like myself and many of my colleagues on this call will be around for dorm duty and it's open to students. But for the week in November, the 2 weeks in winter break and in December and January, and then the 2 weeks in March, we close down the residence halls and students will go home and visit family or go visit other friends and family in the US or somewhere else in the world. So I just want you to have these dates aware on your radar. We also are going to be sharing these dates with you tomorrow. So do not worry. You do not have to take notes. I should have said earlier, there will not be a quiz at the end of this presentation. So we are going to be sharing out information with you starting tomorrow. And then furthermore, as we get going into the beginning of the summer and into the beginning of the school year. So this is just to give this, get this on your radar so you're aware of what's to come. Next slide, please. Thank you. I wanted to talk about orientation briefly because I'm already starting to get this question about shopping. There will be plenty of time to go shopping in August when you are here on campus. We have time built in with shopping trips. There's also downtime after you come in and see the residence hall and see your dorm room, meet your roommates if you're going to be living at Kingswood, and be able to go out to the store and get things that you need. That being said, the Res Life team will be in touch later on this spring with more information about what to expect when you're moving onto campus and things that you can bring, things that you cannot bring, and also your roommate survey if you are going to be moving into Kingswood. During the orientation time, we will provide campus tours for new students. You'll get a chance to meet with the residential staff, house advisors, the upper school leadership team has time with you as well. Noelle runs a fantastic round circle conversation for parents just to talk about what they're feeling and how they're navigating leaving their kids on the campus and then going back home and what that feels like. We always have parents who are super excited for their kids, but also a little nervous. And we're there to show you and share how we take care of your kids when we're there in your stead. We also will have an opportunity for new students to meet with their advisors during orientation. So there will be an opportunity for that. And then we also will finish with a back to school picnic for the entire community, parents and students, both new and returning on September 3rd. So that's a really big week. It's a lot going on, but a really great opportunity for all of us to get together and for you to spend some time with different members of the Cranbrook community. Next slide, please. I want to talk about paperwork and health and wellness really, really briefly. Some of you have already been emailing us with questions, and I just want to touch base on what we have available to families here. Like I said, we are split into two pieces on our campus, but we spend time in both spaces. So we have two health centers. We have counselors stationed on both campuses. One of them does live on campus. We also have learning specialists on both of our campuses to support students. Nursing forms will be published later in April, so you'll hear from them in a couple of weeks with the forms that we need you to start submitting around health insurance and medical allowances and things like that. We also will be reaching out around your paperwork if you are an international student. We encourage you to submit your paperwork online through your enrollment checklist as soon as you can. Pascal Bauer is already processing paperwork and getting people ready for their interviews for their visas to get their F1s. And we highly encourage you to submit all of that online. So the more we can do now in April, May, and June, the better, because we can better support you as you navigate joining our community over the summer. So please be mindful of those dates. We will have those emails coming out soon, so keep your eyes peeled for those. If you have a learning support plan, like a 504, and you have not already shared that with our office, we would ask that you reach out to your enrollment dean, either Anna or Pam or Pascal, to make sure that you communicate that to us, and we will connect you with the learning specialists, and they can do it, have a conversation and have a meeting with you, even if it's virtual, if you're not in the area before the summer, so we can keep that in mind when we're talking about course selections and how we support you as you start your time at Cranbrook. Next slide. Athletics. This is just really, really quick. On your enrollment checklist, you will see an opportunity to do a brief survey about your interest in athletics at Cranbrook. Please do fill that out because that will connect you with the right coaching staff for the sport that you are interested in playing or starting if you've never played it before. One thing to note, if you are interested in playing a fall sport, preseason does begin on August 11th. Unfortunately, as you saw on the other slide, our dorm residence halls do not open before that date. We do have families that are residential families that will then not move, they will relocate for a brief time to come and stay in the Michigan area so their child can participate in preseason beforehand. You do not have to, please know that. You will be able to do tryouts and join the teams even if you're not here for preseason, but if you want to, you're more than welcome, and you can communicate that with your athletic coaches after you do your survey. So they will be in touch with you once you complete that paperwork. Next slide. Performing arts auditions. I'm going to touch on this briefly before Erica and Gail come up to start answering questions about the course selection process, because some of this feeds into them. But I did just want to clarify that you can audition from anywhere in the world. If you're interested in auditioning for one of our more advanced choral programs like Master Singers or Madrigals, you are welcome to schedule a Zoom with Jim Gabriel, who oversees that program, and he will happily do an audition via Zoom. The other teachers and program directors will be in touch for a video based on how your academic questionnaires are filled out. Some of us have already been in contact with some of you about these auditions, but I just wanted you to know that that is an option to you for those of you who have recently enrolled. Next slide. All right, we are up to the main event. Our two wonderful academic deans, Erica Hansinger and Gail Chun. I'm going to turn it over to them, and then we will answer questions when they are done. So ladies, take it away.
Okay, thanks, Letty.
Gail,
you want me to go first?
Sure.
All right. I'm Erica Hansinger. I'm the academic dean for 9th and 10th grade, and been at Cranbrook for, I think, about 26 years now. And I've had two kids graduate from Cranbrook. Both are off and out of college. So that's an amazing thought. And I've been working with new students transitioning in for years. And so that's really been a wonderful experience for me. To bring in our 8th graders, 8th to 9th graders from within our own school, but then also to have them be joined by so many new students from all over the world. Gail, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. I like it when Erica goes first because she reminds me how long I've been here. I'm Gail Chun, the academic dean for 11th and 12th. Erica and I both also have the
the honor, privilege, pleasure of continuing to teach a class in the history department for Erica and math department for myself. I've the 25 years I've been here has always been in the math department, including department head, which we both had that role in our respective departments as well. I have lived on campus for 16 years, both on and off over the 25, but the on was about 16 years as a residential faculty. I have 3 grown adults and as importantly, 5 grandchildren. So that's my love life. But I adore kids in general. I would have had a dozen of them, but teaching with 400 upper school upperclassmen, 11th and 12th is also wonderful. I love my job. And supporting kids, both current students and the new students as they enter the 11th grade new students or 12th grade, certainly more 11th grade new students. It's a transition. So we want to, our goal is to work with each student and family individually and what is going to be the best fit for them academically. And certainly there's a lot of other support that helps in the transition. So a little bit about myself.
Thanks. Just a note here on this slide for the email address for official transcripts to be sent. This is especially important if you're coming into 10th, 11th, or 12th grade, because we'll need those transcripts to verify graduation credits. And then when you apply to college, we'll need to be able to send that transcript of 9th or 10th or whatever grades you spent elsewhere. We'll need to be able to send that along. So make sure your schools know that where you're at currently, and they'll be able to take care of that for us. Okay, next slide. So this course request process that we go through, we're going through it right now with our current students. Please know that it is not a first come, first serve process. So what we're doing is creating lists of courses that students are asking to take, recommended to take, required to take for each student, so that then we can do all the scheduling at the same time and make sure every student receives what they need to receive. Sometimes students don't get their first choice art class or other elective classes, but we definitely try to maximize that as best as we can. So that's why it's not a first come, first serve basis. But also it's tricky. We're bringing kids in from all over the world, from very different educational environments. And what we want to do is find out what is going to be sort of the best fit for them here at Cranbrook based on our curriculum and what our courses include. And that can vary from school to school, even with the same title of a course in terms of what was taught, what was part of that curriculum, but what's expected within ours. And so our goal is to always find that perfect balance of students being challenged appropriately so that they're learning, they're growing, they're developing, but they're also, it's like the right fit for them, and it's not so far beyond them that it's kind of burying them in work. So that's our goal in the process. Do you want to go ahead?
Thank you. That's very good insight into the process, because it's not apples to apples from one environment to another. So we do have years of experience. So we hope that we can, and we are very good in terms of our department heads support in this, and ourselves with the experience trying to match kids into our curriculum. So there's what we've listed here is 6. I don't really want to call them steps, because there's definitely some overlap, but it is chronological, so we won't go to the end. We can't release student schedules, and that's for all student schedules. All upper school student schedules are released. The goal is April 8th. We're not going to go there before we've gone through these earlier steps. So we want you to know that tomorrow you will be getting, as the previous slide said, the academic dean's office will be the primary method of communication that you will be getting, whether it's from myself, Erica, Sarah Tufts is our administrative assistant here, or the academic dean's office email. And those will begin tomorrow with a welcome letter. It'll also talk about where you need to mail your transcripts, an official transcript at the end of the year. So keep that handy. But it will also include student questionnaires. That's really the initial step here. We've gathered information from your files. We have the complete files, as will department heads when they get to it. But we're now that you are part of our wonderful community, we have more specific questionnaires that we're going to be sending to you that talk about your academics, not only that what we can see in the two-dimensional data that we have, but give us some insight into, you might have choice as you're looking at 9th, 10th, or 11th. So tell us what it is that you think you're interested in. It's a piece that was very helpful to help inform placements and then later some courses. So the questionnaires will focus on academics. There'll be questionnaires on art and then general interest. From there, you will also get from our department placement test. Be appropriate. You won't get every placement test. We will look at your file and we will send initially what we believe is the appropriate placement test. Our courses are not open enrollment, all of them. Some are not. And some we are very fortunate to have differentiated levels in many of our courses, especially in math, science, history, world language as well. But we have differentiated levels. And so we, just like our current students, will look at a lot of things. With new students, we're going to be looking at not only the placement tests we send you, primarily in math, science, world language, and history. You will get those. You will get gentle reminders from us. There's instructions on it, on what to do. You will get gentle reminders from our office if it's taking too long, because we will not go to the next step until we have the placement test. And then Erica, if you want to pick up with that, what we do
Sure.
once we get the placement test back.
Yeah. And just so you know, we also don't send placement tests until we get the questionnaires back.
Right.
So the questionnaires have to come back first. Then that lets us know what placement test to send. Once the placement tests come back, and if there's a couple that you're being asked to take, they don't have to each come in at the exact same time. Send them in as you finish them. We usually like to get those back within a week turnaround, because then our department heads need to spend time reviewing the students' work on the placement test, reviewing other aspects of their file in terms of their transcript, any standardized test scores that we have, the courses that they've taken in the past, and then they will recommend the appropriate course to us. I teach history, Gail teaches math. We wouldn't be good at trying to make placements in each other's departments. So we rely on our department heads for that, and they're wonderful at it. They have a very good understanding of the curriculum and the expectations within their department, and then gathering that information on the student to figure out what's going to be the right place for the student. Once that has been completed, including us being able to build in the art choices that a student has chosen, that'll come through questionnaires. So it's important to make sure when students are selecting their art for a semester, if they're not selecting a year-long course, but they're looking to take semester-long courses, that they give us two alternates, and the alternates should not be the same as the first choice. So they need to all be 3 separate classes that they are willing to take. And like I said at the beginning, we very much try to place students into elective classes of their first choice, but sometimes we do need to go to that second and third choice to make sure they're able to take a class. Once all that is built, then our office will communicate with you and send a course request confirmation, and that'll include a list of all of the classes that your child has been recommended to take, placed into, or chose to take, where there is choice. At that point, that would be a good point. Once we have all that data, that would be a good point if you and your child wanted to meet with us to kind of go over the program and talk about, sort of where things lead after the first year that they're here with us, to do some longer range planning, or even just talking about next year. That would be a good time for us to meet, because now we've got all the data that we need to have a full discussion of that. And Gail and I take we take appointments throughout the summer. They're often virtual in the summer just because sometimes we're gone, sometimes you're gone. It seems to be better just to make those virtual. But we do take appointments throughout the summer. There will be times when we are away on vacation with our families, but at the same time, we make ourselves available throughout the summer so that we can meet with families. Yeah.
But one of the things I wanted to mention before we go, and then that's
Yep.
the last thing, curriculum guide. You have access to the full curriculum guide. So as you're looking, and the questionnaires do list, but our questionnaires don't give you detailed descriptions. So if you would like more information, please refer back to the 25-26 curriculum guide that you have access to, and enjoy your reading.
It's a lovely little bit of light reading, isn't it?
Yes.
And I will be sharing that out to everyone tomorrow with a recording of today's meeting and event, and then also a couple other information pieces as well, just to help you kind of navigate next steps. I do, before we dive into questions, and if you have questions, please feel free to send them in the chat to Anna. She is putting everything together to ask questions on your behalf so we can answer them. I do want to give our wonderful academic deans a shout out in their process, because many schools will set their schedule and then look at their student selections to make them fit into what framework is already built in place for the schedule and sections and course offerings. Erica and Gail do the opposite. While we still can't make everything work because of limitations of scheduling and all of that, they do a great job of looking and seeing what the interest and the need is within our community, and then building the schedule around that, which so they kind of do it in a backwards process instead of just saying, okay, who goes here and who goes here and who goes here. They do it the opposite way and say, what do our kids need and what makes sense for our student body this year, in line with what else we need to try and accomplish as an academic dean's office. So these pieces that you do are very, very important and help us do that work. And I just want to clarify, because we're in April, the other A month. When Gail, you said the schedules were published April 8th. They're not. They come out on August 8th. So I just wanted to clarify that. So no one thinks, oh my gosh, we missed the boat. No, we are getting ahead of things.
Sorry, you're right.
You're good. No worries. It's a little crazy times around here. I get it. And so we are going to be working with you through all of this as we get going, to then publish in August and then navigate what happens between then and the opening days of school. And there is a drop ed period after the school year starts when you get into classes. All those traditional pieces still exist. There is information in the curriculum guide about that, so you can read more about that. But also asking Erica and Gail questions. The sad moment of this evening is that this is when you leave the enrollment office of sorts. Like, we will always be here for you, but we are now passing you on to our wonderful colleagues in the upper school, in nursing and student support and in res life. And we are always here, but these are the people that you will start working with. So we encourage you to start engaging with them. So I will give you a directory of who to reach out to tomorrow, so you know who to go to for what, and we'll navigate those from there. Anna, do you want to start us off with some course selection academic questions?
Yes, I have a question from a family. They would like to know if students will be able to take AP courses starting from the 10th grade.
Sure, I'll take that one since
Thank
that's
you.
in my grade level. We do have some 10th graders taking AP courses. There isn't a wide array of AP courses offered to 10th graders. But there's a split after 9th grade. All our students take Worldviews and Civilizations, which fulfills a half credit in history and a half credit in religion and philosophy. From there, students are recommended either into World History, Intersections Past and Present, or AP World History. So that's one area where it's a possibility. Sometimes if students are advanced in math, they might be going into, say, advanced topics analysis in 10th grade, or they might be taking AP Calc if they start out in 9th grade in pre-calculus. So it kind of depends on where they're at in that math track. And then we do have probably about, I don't know, 30 or so sophomores who take AP Computer Science after they've done an intro level class and if they've been recommended. We do have AP limits. So sophomore year, the limit of APs that a student can take is 2, and that includes our advanced topic classes. And then junior year is 3, senior year is 4. So we get progressively, sort of building rigor into their schedules over time. But I will say most of our sophomores don't have any AP classes. That is not unusual at all. And a student should not feel as if that's going to be a problem down the road. It just kind of depends on where each student is at and what's going to be most appropriate for them.
Thank you, Gail. We also have a question about placement tests, and they want to know, where do students take those placement tests?
Yeah, so our placement tests, I think the majority, if not all, are electronic now. Some you might have to show work and then upload that work separately. It's an honor system. There's, they read the integrity statement and sign that. They don't need to go somewhere else. The purpose of these placement tests are to get kids students into a class that's the best fit. So it is in their best interest to take them with that in mind. It gets much more difficult if it's not an accurate representation of what their abilities are. But no special proctoring. It's the student, and please don't have your student. Sometimes we have kids waiting because they say, well, I'm not done with my school year yet. I need to finish all my math before I take that placement test. That's not the intent. We know where you're at. We know that it's April. We know that you have 4 or 5, 6 weeks left of school. We know that. So that's part of the consideration. It's, in that timeline that we gave, it's helpful if we're getting placement tests back so we can work through the overall academic course recommendations. We can communicate with you, have time to have additional conversations, and if needed, go back with the department heads and talk about more. Once we meet with the family after we've sent those course recommendation course request selections, there might be narrative that there was no way that we could have known about until we talked with you. And sometimes when that happens, we'll go back to a department head. Once summer starts, they will be accessible, but not as easily accessible as they are during the school year. So that timeline just might be a little delayed for response once our staff has left for the summer, and staff does include department heads.
I would just add onto that. Thanks, Gail.
Mm-hmm.
There is a point in the summer where we have to start running schedules. Mm-hmm. If we don't have your placement test back by then, now we are doing more of a plug and play where we will have set the master schedule and we're just going to be plugging students into it whose course confirmations come later. So it's certainly better to send those, like Gail said, send those placement tests back as soon as possible. None of them take more than an hour each. And so you can kind of spread that out, do them on a weekend, whatever. But the timely return of those allows us to then make those requests part of our schedule building.
Thank you so much. I have a couple more questions about placement tests, so I'm going to clump them together right now. We have some questions about when the test will be sent out and which courses will offer placement tests for new 9th grade students.
Sure, I can take that one. The placement tests will be sent out usually within a couple days of you returning or completing the questionnaires. And the students, you should sit down with your child and complete those questionnaires so that they're part of that process of what especially where there's choice, right? Once those are completed, then I take a look at the file and we figure out what placement test to send, and then Sarah from our academic dean's office email will send out a placement test email, and it usually has links to the different tests that you'll be taking. So it's really the when is on your timeline. The sooner we get the questionnaires back, the sooner we send the placement tests, right? So becomes a rolling process based on when things are submitted to us. I feel like there was a second part of that question. Oh, with the ninth graders, yes. Okay, sorry, it's after 5. So with ninth grade, all students take English 9. All students take worldviews and civilizations. There are no placement tests in those 2 areas. And then in math, most students will take at least 1 placement test, unless they're in pre-algebra right now, and then we're going to be placing them into Algebra 1. But if they've already had an algebra class, we will send an Algebra 1 placement test to kind of check their skills in that area. If they've taken geometry and it's on the transcript and it looks like they're doing fine, we don't send a geometry placement test. If a student is coming from an integrated math curriculum where there isn't a discrete course for geometry, then we would send a geometry placement test to see, if they're going to pass out of our geometry class. And then in science, in ninth grade, there is all of our students take biology. But we do have a biology 1 honors class, and we do send a placement test. We don't usually send that out to everyone. Usually we kind of look at the profile and see, like, does it look like the student, would be a candidate for this? And then we'll send that placement test out to see how that goes. It's a scientific thinking skills test. It's not based on any particular scientific content. So yeah, I think that covers all the placement tests for incoming ninth graders. Oh, world language. I forgot about world language. And that comes through on the questionnaires. You have to indicate to us what world language the student wants to take, and if they do want to attempt to place into a level higher than level 1. If they've never taken the language before, they should definitely be in level 1. If they have taken it for a couple of years, they should take a placement test if they want to continue with that language, so we can see if level 2 is appropriate. It's not a great fit. Sometimes people want, even though their child's had a language for a couple of years, they want them to take level 1. And, sometimes that's necessary. That's what the placement test lets us know. But sometimes it's not a good fit because our level 1 classes really are designed for students who don't have exposure to that language. And the student who's been studying it for a couple of years is likely going to get bored and develop bad habits because they don't really have to work very hard in the class. And so their study habits and their homework completion habits kind of fall off. And it can kind of be a lost year for them. So we try to get them in the right spot.
Thank you so much. I have a couple questions about AP and honors classes, and so I'm going to put them together. One person asked if we could describe honors versus AP versus advanced topics courses, and just kind of asked if there was like a correct order of progression, or is each level just faster pace, or does the content change significantly? And somebody asked if we cap AP classes for transfer 11th graders because they're new to the environment.
I can take a shot at that one. Certainly fill in, Erica. If I missed anything, there was a lot of questions capped in there. I'm gonna start with the in reverse. No, that's the same with a new 10th grader, 11th grader. It's the same policies that we have for a student internal as external, though it's not a different policy. Juniors are limited to 3 APs. Certainly, as we're working with any student, whether they're new or returning, we're going to look at the student as an individual and look at their whole program when we're looking at every junior doesn't have an automatic 3 AP approval. There are some juniors who would be approved for 1. There are some juniors who will be approved for 2 and some who will be approved for 3. It's really very individual. With the goal, again, like Erica stated earlier, with looking at the whole academic program, looking at the college prep, understanding, adding the appropriate rigor and challenge where you can maintain academic success is our goal. So that's an answer to that first part. The honors AP versus topics. I'm going to start with all of our courses are college prep and rigorous and challenging with or without an honors, an AP, or an AT tag. They are all college prep and rigorous and challenging. Honors classes, I'm going to try and answer this in a general way. I would encourage you to look at the flow charts in the curriculum guide too. At each department, they have a great flow chart at the beginning of their departments, which kind of describes, because it's kind of unique to courses or departments. For example, history does not have an honors course. They have APs. Whereas math and science have more honors, where language has more honors. English has no honors or APs. So take a deeper dive into that catalog and kind of look, but in a general sense, if we had a standard college prep class, and then we had an honors version, the difference is in pace, rigor. It can certainly be in the grading structure of the class. You may have, if you're talking about the weight distribution without getting in the weeds, Erica, you yanked me out. With 90% test, 90% of your grade in an honors class may be test, where in a standard college prep class, it might be 80%, and then the other 20% is made up of other things. So structure is also something that may be different. In terms of advanced topics courses and AP, that varies widely by department. When you see the advanced topics, it is safe to say if you see an advanced topics, it is at or above an AP level. Math department has 8 advanced topics classes that are essentially equivalent to a curriculum of an AP math. And then we have advanced topics classes that are beyond any AP math class that they offer. So, but it's safe to say they're at or above an AP, a standard language AP. Hope that answers that.
Thank you, Gail. And we didn't have to pull you out of those weeds. You did it great.
It's time to go down there quick.
I have had a couple people direct message me with a couple of questions, so I just wanted to chime in for a second before Anna kept asking her other academic questions. One person asked if the questionnaire will be emailed or an on-site. Everything that's used by the academic deans for course selection, from questionnaires to testing to these conversations, can all be done from the comfort of your own home or vacation spot over the summer. Can all be done anywhere in the world. And we did that purposefully to be as inclusive and accessible as possible for everyone navigating the process. So you can be anywhere. Do not worry about traveling and planning trips up north around dates or anything like that. All of this is done at your leisure, which is why we stress to do it as timely as you can. So that way we can help you navigate the process as quickly as we can. I've also gotten a couple questions that I can kind of mold into one. I've been getting some questions about what it means to test ahead or take courses outside of Cranbrook or this summer before they enroll. For example, looking at like math courses and things like that. I'm wondering if you two could speak to that a little bit in terms of what we look for and how we work with families that have concerns about that.
Yeah, I can speak to that. Thanks, Betty. And those are good questions. So I'll speak first about math, because I feel like that's an area where most people are looking to do some sort of summer work. Our department does require that students take year-long classes in the foundational math classes, Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. So those need to be year-long courses. If they're already courses you've already taken and are on, a middle school transcript, or if you're coming into 10th grade on your 9th grade transcript, as I said, we would send placement tests to check your algebra skills. If the geometry is already on the transcript and you've passed, we're not going to be concerned about that. But they can't be taken as summer courses and then jumped ahead at Cranbrook. And in general, we only put courses on our transcript that students take at Cranbrook. We don't put outside courses onto our transcript. I know some schools do. That's not the way we handle it. So our transcript only represents as a record keeping tool for our courses. And any courses that you're taking to meet graduation requirements also have to be taken at Cranbrook if they're going to meet those important requirements. Except, with the exception of if you come into 10th grade, right, we're accepting your transcript from 9th grade and so on and so forth. But once you're here, the courses have to be taken at Cranbrook for graduation credit. Having said all that, we do have students who take courses for summer enrichment. It's not uncommon for students to do that. It's not required either at the same time. So it really kind of depends on your child and their interests. Certainly between 8th and 9th grade, if there are particular concerns you have about how your child might perform any particular subject area, and you're wondering what they might be able to do, let's get through the placement test process, and then we can talk about sort of possibilities for, helping them to be better prepared to come into 9th grade. And that is something that students do engage in sometimes from year to year. Anything else, Gail, that you have to add to that?
I don't think so. I mean, so once enrolled and once you're here for a year and we've established your success in the curriculum we have, there are summer work things that kids can do to advance, not to meet graduation requirement, not to and not in Algebra 1 geometry or Algebra 2, but there are, if eligible, based on the work and the evidence that they've seen in the current year that you're in here within our curriculum, then conversations could be had for summer work to advance. And that's really usually as you get into upper classes.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Letty, do you have more questions to ask?
I have one more question that I can kind of speak to on behalf of Erica and Gail that someone asked me about pre-academic testing and another question that came through about other testing like the SSAT that many of you took for your admission or the PSAT. Those do come into consideration when we're looking at the full file. That was what Gail was referring to. They have access to the admission file so they can see comments from your previous teachers. They can see all the testing and everything is used in concert together to make the best possible option for you for your schedule. So even though these are my colleagues here are new to the party, as one would say, in terms of course selection and getting to know you, this is their meat and potatoes, and they know how to navigate that, and they've read the files, they understand how they can help, and then we partner with them too to answer any clarifying questions if something comes up as well. So they know you very, very well. And if there's anything else you'd like to give us to add to that file at this time, you're more than welcome to reach out to the enrollment office and we'll happily add that in, or directly to Sarah Tufts after she reaches out to you tomorrow. So we can definitely add things as they come. It is almost 6 o'clock, so we've have time for a couple more academic questions, and then we'll move on to the other questions that we've got. And then, of course, as more questions come up, Erica and Gail are available via email and as the questionnaires get going. This is just the primer, guys. We're just getting started. We got a whole long way to go before we're done.
So I have two other questions to ask. One is, do students only take the 5 core courses in 11th grade, or can they also take 1 to 2 electives?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so 11th grade, new juniors, it's again going to depend on the questionnaires, and English, everyone will take English and math. Usually we're continuing with a science. It just is going to depend on what that looks like. And a history. Everybody takes the history class. World language, it's going to depend on what you've had. That usually is an area where there's more variability when someone's entering the school, especially from an international location. But those are your core 5 that I'm imagining you're referring to. And yes, everybody typically takes those. Our graduation requires 2 consecutive years of a world language, but all those other subject areas excuse me, includes a junior year or senior year. So it's usually the world language. That said, 5 academics are the core. we could look, if somebody doesn't take a world language, they have to pick up semester electives. 6 academics is a conversation that requires a petition, and we would absolutely have you join in that requirement as we do current students, which because it's an academic overload, and we would be cautious, but we would certainly be open to a conversation if, like, you're taking the core 5 and I want to take international relations. Well, we need to have a conversation of what that looks like, the same as we would with students here. But 5 is our standard. 6 is an academic overload. You're adding, and we like out of our office to say, what are you going to take off to bring that scale back into balance? So it's a possibility, but I think we'll cross that bridge when we get to it with a 6th academic petition that rationalizes what and why. And we'd probably look out to, well, what's senior year look like as well, planning so you don't have to do it all junior year.
Thank you, Gail. I have a question about 8th grade, and this family asked if my child is in 8th grade and is currently taking English 1, will he be put into English 1 either way?
So our English department courses are grade level based courses. So everyone takes English 9. And really the difference is the readings and the materials that they're dealing with. And also the skills that they're developing along the way. So we're trying to bring, because English curriculum across the country and the world can vary widely. We're trying to sort of bring everybody into 9th grade, and then the teachers are teaching them the different writing skills that their department is going to shepherd them through for the next 4 years. And so it's progressive, but yes, everybody comes into English 9, then world literature, then American literature. Senior year, students take English elective courses, 1 each semester, and there are a lot of wonderful, unique topics. And those classes are really like, a college level English class, even upper level, I would say in some cases, in terms of the specialized topics. And I can assure you that the writing program that they take the kids through over these 4 years is incredibly impressive. And one of the things that our students always tell us our alumni always tell us when they come back after being out in the world for a little while, is that when they got to college and in life, like, they were great. They were very good communicators because of the real sort of rigorous analysis and writing that they go through within English and history. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Erica. I just want to give one little other tidbit about the English curriculum, especially with 9th grade. The sections for 9th grade English we actually purposely add a 9th grade section. So those classes are a little bit smaller. So they do that purposely to really work with kids in 9th grade to help support them as they navigate this transition into Cranbrook upper school, but also for the kids that maybe need a little bit more, they can figure out, like, where are you at and how are we going to help you navigate this, and giving them an opportunity to take on leadership roles in the classroom. We are not a Harkness school, but there are many elements of a Harkness style of teaching in the humanities that are present in the English curriculum. So kids are challenged no matter where they're at, even though they are with their peers. And it's a really unique way that we approach the English curriculum here. And as we talk about this lovely light reading that is the curriculum guide, I highly encourage, even if you're going to be a new 9th grader next year, go and take a look at the senior elective classes, because I want to audit every single one of them. They are fantastic classes. I've had a couple quick housekeeping questions I want to touch on. Erica, Gail, thank you so much for taking some time to speak with families today. As I said, everybody, they will still be available into the coming weeks via email as you fill out your questionnaire. If you have other questions, they can connect with you. And I know some of you want to kind of talk through what's going on with your specific academic history and where you want to go and what you're thinking in terms of getting done in the next 4, 3, or even 2 years. So they are available and accessible, and we can also kind of help springboard those conversations for you as well. But thank you so much. Before I switch gears, I just want to say thank you to both of you for being here. Somebody looked at the calendar while we were speaking and realized that orientation does fall over Labor Day weekend and had a question. Are you in fact running orientation on Labor Day? And the answer is yes. That is for residential students only. So new residential students have orientation on Labor Day. And then all other new students who are day students will join us on the day after Labor Day, which is September 2nd this year. And then it's all students returning and new on September 3rd. So I just wanted to clarify that if you are moving onto campus, yes, there is programming on campus on Labor Day. Another person asked if we are going to allow freshmen to audition for the musicals and the plays. Absolutely. New students, no matter what age you are when you're joining us, freshman, sophomore, junior, or even senior, are able to participate in all of these different arenas of interest on campus. Your involvement may vary, but have access to all these spaces, even athletically and in the arts as well, and other clubs and organizations. Everything is open to you, which is pretty exciting. Anna, what other questions do we have? We can invite all the other academic deans to pop in if they want, and we can answer other questions as they come up.
Thank you, Letty. We've answered most of the questions so far.
Fantastic.
Yeah, for the academic deans. Thank you.
No, I'm just any non-academic questions.
No, I'm just inviting those now.
Fantastic. Well, I have one more that I wanted to answer briefly. It was about auditions for performing arts, similar to the play. There are levels of the performing arts that do not require an audition, but there are other levels that are higher that do require an audition. So if you go and look at the curriculum guide, you will see for instruments, there are spaces where you do not have to audition to participate, and there are other spaces where you do audition. And those auditions are submitted via video. So you're able to take a look at recording yourself for a video. That way there's not like real-time performance anxiety. You can record yourself and send that in. I did have a couple questions emailed to me over the weekend about res life and what to expect and all of that. Those communications will come out, like I said, later in the spring before we leave for summer break. And we will be communicating with you around roommates and what is accessible in terms of available in the rooms, and then what you might want to bring with you. So some of you have asked about bed sizes and sheets and all of that. That will be communicated out before we leave for summer break. But please know that there is, like I said, there will be time for you to go shopping when you are arriving on campus during orientation. We build in some shopping time because you might find that you want some special lighting for your room. I think there's a couple kids that have strip lights set up in their room so they can control the color. It's pretty awesome. Any other questions we can answer for you guys right now?
We have a club question.
Yeah.
When do we receive a list of clubs and organizations students can join? And when can students start joining these clubs?
Perfect. I will start by answering this, but Pam Gardner, our Dean of Day Enrollment, is on the call, and she attends this fair almost every single year. So I will let her chime in when I'm done if there's anything that she wants to add. We publish a list, but we go one step further, and we actually have a whole club fair. We do that 2 or 3 weeks into the school year. So the student clubs get to go and they host a table, and we do it in the gym here at Kingswood, and all students go and attend, and you kind of get to go shopping for a club or an organization that you might want to join. You get to go and see, oh, do I want to join Model UN? Do I want to join the drawing club, baking club? We have a club that ties into our weaving studio that works with weavers across the world. There's a wide variety of opportunities, and you can go and get to know the student leaders, the faculty advisors of the club, things like the newspaper have a presence there as well. There's a lot of opportunities for you to go and explore and learn. There is nothing happening over the summer for most of these organizations, so do not feel like you are missing out on anything. They will really kind of pause for the summer, and then they will pick up and start again in this fall when they get back. And that first club fair event really is one of the first major things that they do. They will give you an opportunity to sign up to learn more information about these clubs, and they will share out information about when their clubs meet. Some meet during long lunches on Wednesdays, some meet in after school, some meet on weekends, depending on what the activity is and the time commitment is. It all depends. So there's a wide variety for you to get involved in. If you look on our website right now, there is a list of clubs as of fall 2024. It changes all the time. It would be a full-time job to keep that list updated. But that's a good snapshot of what students are doing on campus and where you can find interests and homes to engage with their classmates on campus. Pam,
Yeah, no, I'm
anything
just going to jump in with a couple of things. That
go
was
for it.
a great overview, but a question that I get frequently is, is there a limit on how many clubs, my child can be a part of? Or the kids will ask, is there a limit? No, there's absolutely not a limit. What you'll find is, and this is fun over on Club Fair Day, I mean, all of these clubs are in the gym and it's fun. There's a picnic lunch by the lake. Kids will sign up for 15 different clubs because they get so excited about all the different opportunities. And then naturally, as they realize when clubs meet and their own schedules and what, sports they're playing, they'll find that there are certain things that they can and can't do, but there's absolutely no limit. I also usually get a question from families about, freshmen, can they have the opportunity to really get involved? Or, do they really have to, wait until they're sophomores and so on? No, we want freshmen to jump in to clubs right away because it's a great opportunity for kids, outside of the kids in their classes or their sports teams to connect with other students in the community and their peers. In a way that's, it's meaningful and it's different for them. So freshmen, we want them to jump in right away. Anybody who's a new student, whether you're 10th or 11th grade, jump in. And there's leadership opportunities as well. We want this to be accessible to kids.
One last question about clubs. It said somebody asked if ninth graders can create a club.
Letty, do you want that one or do you want me to take?
I'll let you take it because I've been talking a lot. You go for it.
Okay. Yes, freshmen absolutely can create a club. We do have a process with creating a new club. Is for students to then gather interest from other students, and they have to have a certain number of signatures on a form. My apologies, I don't remember the number. They also need to be able to find a faculty member or administrator to be a club advisor. And then they'll submit an application to student council with their club, the premise for their club and the goal of their club. We do that because we want kids to be able to self-advocate and to be able to create things, but we also we want there to be a process and, for a club to be meaningful. But absolutely, ninth graders can create new clubs. I had years ago, it was pre-COVID, we had a couple of new freshmen. They created a beekeeping club on campus. These young ladies were really interested in the environment and the impact of the environment on bees, gathered signatures, got a faculty advisor, and were able to create that. So yes, they can. There is a process, but absolutely. That's one of the exciting things about Cranbrook is really that the kids have that chance to self-advocate and be able to create a lot of the cool things that are happening on campus.
Thanks, Pam.
We have some boarding and residential life questions.
Okay.
How many boarding school students do you have this year? Is the first one.
Okay. So we have a boarding program of just around 260 kids. So we have just over 100 students living in Kingswood, and then we have just over 150 to 160 living over at Cranbrook. At Kingswood, you have a roommate and you're part of a suite that shares a bathroom with another room that usually has one or two students living in it. And then at Cranbrook, which is where our male identifying students live, they have singles and bathrooms on the floor. So we kind of have a little bit of a different model. It's one of the side effects of being two separate schools when we were initially created. So our residential life programming in terms of the physical spaces look and feel a little different on both campuses. So that being said, students are welcome in both residence halls. We obviously have rules about what spaces you're allowed to be in and when you're allowed to be in the residence halls, but students are welcome to go over and see their friends on in the other residence hall when they want to within those limitations.
To piggyback on that, they asked about if we have with regards to Thanksgiving break, does school have support for kids not going back to their home country?
Yeah, I got that question as well. I apologize, I didn't answer it before. We do not have formal programming around that, but we do recognize that there is a need for that. And so many students find home friends of theirs who will host them for a long weekend or a weekend or for a whole holiday like that. One of our colleagues, her son just recently graduated from Cranbrook last year, and it was not uncommon for her to have a bunch of boys hanging out at her house on the weekend who were living on our residential program and joining her son, who was their friends, for the weekend at their house. So many of our kids do find places to stay organically. But we also are happy to help make connections. Please know this is something that, especially given travel concerns right now, we are exploring on how we can flesh that out to support families in the coming year. As Noelle mentioned, we are in the final stages of completing a search for a new director of residence life. And so that person will be partnering with my office and Pascal Bauer and Anna Bryant, who's our international student coordinator, and other Res Life staff to figure out how we take care of kids and make sure they have a place to stay. But I'm happy to report that most of it happens organically. And most kids have friends offering up their homes for long weekends or for breaks like Thanksgiving. So it's not a massive concern, but it is something that we want to be mindful of to take care of students.
We have an athletics question.
Okay.
Do we have any sports fair for new students? Any chance for new students to try out and change selections after the school starts? And how many sports should they select? And they mentioned the 3 seasons, and they asked if students needed to have a sport for every season.
I will start this question, and then Coach Green, if you want to hop in for anything that I missed, you're welcome to join me. We do not require you participate in sports. Instead, what we have is an activity credit where we ask that you're participating in different activities that have a significant time commitment. So robotics and Model UN and debate fulfill an activity credit, same as if you were playing a sport. So there is a level of requirement that you have to complete each year. There's information about that in the curriculum guide. It is a graduation requirement. When you're doing the athletics survey, share what you're interested in. That will just get you connected with coaches so you can start having conversations and figure out what makes the most sense for you in your time at Cranbrook. You can start off with a sport and then decide after one season, I'm not sure if this is my jam. I don't want to do this in the future years, and that's okay. You can also go the other way where you add in a sport that is something that you might be interested in. We have some freshmen boys this year who are new to golf. And they're loving it, but that was not on their bingo card for the year to be playing golf for Cranbrook, but they're having a great time. You will not miss out on programming if you are joining us after preseason has started. There will be an opportunity for you to try out and be a part of a sports team in the fall. That being said, I highly encourage that you fill out those surveys. That way you can get connected with a coach earlier on this spring and summer, and they can help you navigate what will happen when you join us a little bit after preseason starts. But do not lose sleep over that. You will still have a home in our athletics program. Coach Green, did I miss anything?
No, you didn't miss anything. I would just add that even if you are not interested in playing a certain sport, but you want to be around it, like there are opportunities to be that team's manager and still have an impact on that program. For instance, I'll just speak to football as a football coach. There are a lot of opportunities, student coach opportunities outside of being a player that wears a helmet, where you can also have an impact and be a part of the program. So if you love numbers, there's plenty of opportunities to do statistics. If you're somebody that likes film, there's opportunities to do that. Our athletic department has a great videographer that's always looking for somebody to help impact that as well. So there are a lot of opportunities within athletics more than, beyond the playing field too.
I didn't even think about that. Thank you, Coach Green.
No problem.
So while you are both on the screen, is there a schedule available for sports tryouts?
I believe there is some information found that can be found in CranNet off of the checklist that you have now that you are enrolled. But the first step is doing that survey, and then they will be in touch with more information once they know what you're interested in. We do not basically have global emails coming out from the coaches to all new families because we don't want to pepper you with a sport email for every single sport when you're only interested in 2 or 3. So do the survey, you'll get more information, and they will help navigate that for you with the coaches and get you connected. Because that's really where it is. It's working with the coaches, and our coaches are ready and willing to connect.
It looks like any of the big questions we've covered so far, unless anyone has any more questions to drop in the chat.
Perfect. Well, I will do a quick wrap up then. And if any other questions pop in, this is your moment. I'll buy you a little bit of time. It has been an absolute joy to work with your families. I read all of the files with the admission committee. So even though I'm not a member of the admission office that you're working with closely, I do know your kids. I've read their files. You guys are fantastic. I'm so excited to have you with us in the fall. This is the moment where we say a little bit of a bittersweet goodbye because it means that you're joining us. But as I said, know that we are here. We will be connecting you with people who are better suited to support you as you navigate selecting courses, filling out course paperwork for international information and things like that. Pascal is here. She has had her camera off, but she is here. She is accessible for email for questions. If you want to email her, and she can hop on a call with you if you've got questions about your paperwork and for your appointments. We are moving very quickly to do all of that. So those of you that are coming to us from outside the United States know that we've got you. We're going to navigate that for you. And we'll take care of you, I promise. I've actually got a couple that someone just provided me with a great segue of, is there a chance for international students to meet with other families before meeting at Cranbrook? In terms of meeting in person, the only opportunity we have is the new family welcome event in June. That being said, one of our junior students who was new to the Cranbrook community and new to the US herself, really wanted to create an opportunity to connect families, and we are going to be doing a virtual event with her in May to connect families from outside the US with how to prepare and answer some questions and give them an opportunity to connect with each other as they are navigating their time to transition to Cranbrook. If you have specific connection requests or concerns, Pascal can connect you with other families as you're navigating your transition, and she would be the best person to reach out to for that. There will be programming when you come to campus in August. We have a lot of time dedicated to bringing everybody together, and that new family picnic that we do on the night of September 3rd before the first day of school. We take over the quad. Everyone comes. There's a massive dinner done by our catering staff, the Chartwells that do our dining hall food as well. And it's a great time. Faculty come, we bring our families, all of our current families are there, and our new families are there. So if you have questions or concerns before that, please reach out to us and we'll connect you with who we can. But there will be opportunities closer to the beginning of the school year to get you connected with the community as well. How and when are the members of student council decided for each grade? Pam, can you speak to this one? she's muted right now, so we'll give her a second.
I'm coming. Sorry.
Thank you.
Good question. They do student council elections. It's either in late September or early October because we want our new students to have the opportunity to participate. So we're not doing those elections, in the spring of this year with our current students. We're waiting until the fall. I apologize, I don't remember exactly the date, but it's late September, early October. What's nice about that is the fact that it gets everybody, several weeks to be on campus. They start to make connections. But what is always interesting to me, my daughter Kate is a grad. And so, watching it as a parent for many years, how many students who are brand new to Cranbrook get spots on student council? It's not kids who have been here for years. It's really an incredibly welcoming and accessible process for students. And I love the fact that so many of our student leaders on student council are brand new to Cranbrook. I just don't remember if it's end of September, early October. So
That's okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, it is almost 6:30. We've been going at this for an hour and a half, and it's been a lovely time, but I do want to be cognizant of everyone's time. If you have more questions, you're welcome to reach out to your enrollment dean and we can direct you to the right people to connect with. Please know that I will be sending out information tomorrow with a directory of people to connect with and the curriculum guide and some other resources. I'll also be including the current year student handbook. We will be updating it for the upcoming school year, but it will at least give you a sense of what to expect for things like dress code and basic Q&A and things like that. But thank you for spending either your evening. For some of you, I know it's the middle of the night, and then some of you, it's first thing in the morning. And if there are any other questions, this would be the time to drop it in, and then we'll take it from there. If not, do you have anything else?
No, I think all the other ones would be one-offs.
Okay, fantastic. Well, everybody have a wonderful evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And we're here if you need us, and you'll hear more from us tomorrow. But we are so excited that you're going to be joining us in the fall, and we'll see you in August. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Letty. Let me know if I can do anything else to help.
Great. Thank you so much. I'll circle back with you in the morning, okay?
Okay, thanks. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks, amazing admissions team.
hey, I think it went well.
Yeah, well, I got a few people we're putting in the waiting room. Hold on. Don, I don't know if you can hear me, my friend, but I'm going to send you an email to follow up more on your question, okay? So have a wonderful evening and I'll be in touch. Okay. Hi, everybody.